order in Canada seems to be in testing times. A Hindu temple in Canada's Brampton was attacked by extremists. The Hindu Canadian Foundation reported that women and children were also attacked by the violent mob. India's Ministry of External Affairs condemned the violence and demanded prosecution of those involved in the attack. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also condemned the attack. On social media platform X, Prime Minister Modi said, and I quote, "I strongly condemn the deliberate attack on a Hindu temple in Canada. Equally appalling are the cowardly attempts to intimidate our diplomats. Such acts of violence will never weaken India's resolve. We expect the Canadian government to ensure justice and uphold the rule of law." One thing important to note here is that Canadian authorities had been requested to provide strong security measures for these events, which constitute routine consular work. But the Trudeau administration probably did not take it seriously, and it shows how these extremists enjoy the support of the Trudeau government. This is not the first time a Hindu temple was attacked in Canada. In July this year, the Swaminarayan temple in Edmonton was vandalized by extremists. Last year, the Swaminarayan Mandir in Canada's Ontario was also vandalized. The relationship between India and Canada took a sharp downturn in September last year when Trudeau alleged that Indian agents might have been involved in the killing of terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. New Delhi rejected the claim outright. Last month, India recalled its High Commissioner in Canada after the diplomat was named as a person of interest by Canada in its probe into Nijjar's killing. India's External Affairs Ministry accused Trudeau of exploiting anti-India rhetoric for domestic political gain, highlighting his previous associations with separatist elements. Listen to what India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said.
Let me make three comments. One, Canada has developed a pattern of making allegations without providing specifics. Secondly, when we look at Canada, for us, the fact that they're putting our diplomats under surveillance is something which is unacceptable. Third, the incidents which the gentleman there spoke about, and do look at the video. I think they would tell you, in a way, the political space today, which is being given to extremist forces there. So we believe in freedoms. We also believe freedom should not be misused.
India lodged a strong protest with Canada for linking India's Home Minister Amit Shah to some alleged plots against extremists in Canada.
The Government of India protests in the strongest terms to the absurd and baseless references made to the Union Home Minister of India before the committee by Deputy Minister David Morrison.
But that's not all. Canada is also spying on Indian diplomats there.
Some of our consular officials were recently informed by the Canadian government that they have been and continued to be under audio and video surveillance. Their communications have also been intercepted. By citing technicalities, the Canadian government cannot justify the fact that it is indulging in harassment.
So if you are wondering why Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hasn't taken action against the recent surge in extremist activities in Canada despite India's requests, here is the reason. Well, it's because Trudeau's government is a minority government, which means it relies on the support of other parties to stay in power. Specifically, Trudeau's Liberal Party has an alliance with the New Democratic Party, or NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh, an extremist sympathiser. The NDP has 24 seats in Parliament, which is a significant number considering Trudeau's Liberal Party only has 157 seats. To stay in power, Trudeau needs 170 seats. The reason Trudeau can't afford to upset Singh is that the NDP has a lot of influence over the Liberals. With Trudeau's backing, Singh has been able to take a strong stand against India and in support of the extremists. In fact, the entire extremist network in Canada has become more active. Let's go back in time to 1985. Canadian authorities had received intelligence that Air India Flight 182 Kanishka was a potential target for terrorists. But despite this warning, the Canadian government chose to ignore the alerts from India, and the consequences were devastating. A bomb planted by extremists destroyed the flight mid-air, killing 329 passengers, mostly Canadians. What's even more shocking is that the Canadian intelligence agency, CSIS, had a mole within the terrorist group. But they removed the mole just before the bombing incident. The Kanishka bombing was one of the deadliest acts of aviation terrorism in history. And at the time, Pierre Trudeau was the Prime Minister of Canada. Fast forward to 2024, and his son, Justin Trudeau, is now the Prime Minister. But unfortunately, Canada is again becoming a safe haven for extremists. It is a pattern that is repeating itself, and it's a cause for concern.